What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into one of the darkest tragedies Switzerland has ever known.
Oh la dinguerie! En gros, bouge.
Just after midnight, around 1:30 a.m., flames erupted inside La Constellation, a popular bar in the luxury ski resort of Crans, Montana, in southern Switzerland.
Oh la dinguerie! En gros, bouge.
Within moments, celebration turned to chaos. Witnesses describe panic. People screaming, young revelers trapped inside, smashing windows with chairs, trying desperately to escape as fire raced across the ceiling. Bright orange flames poured into the icy alpine night. Some ran through fire. Others stumbled into the street, their clothes burned, their skin scorched. At least one explosion ripped through the bar, later described by authorities as a flashover, when everything combustible ignites at once, transforming a fire into an inferno.
Oh la dinguerie! En gros, bouge.
We're going to go and check it out because it's a bar where we meet up with so many of our friends, really, almost every single weekend. It just so happened that it was one of the very few weekends when we weren't actually there. We honestly thought it was just a small, insignificant fire, but then when we finally arrived on the scene, it was nothing but war. That's the only word I can possibly utter. It was the apocalypse. It was truly terrible. We saw people burning, passing right in front of us. They were all burned. The firefighters, the paramedics who were doing their important work, who were resuscitating people, and that's just truly terrible.
He had warned us, he had sent us a message. We were at home. He sent us a message explaining that the Constellation had exploded, that there was a fire and many people had died. He described to us everything he was seeing. He was in shock. When he came back home, he was truly shocked.
Investigators say the cause of the fire remains unknown. Prosecutors have ruled out terrorism and said no suspects are being sought. An investigation has been launched simply to understand how this could happen. Video from inside the bar's aftermath shows devastation: overturned benches, scattered chairs, burned cushions, and a single shoe lying on the floor. Asked about earlier reports of an explosion, regional security official Stéphane Gonzer said it is not the detonation of an explosive device that causes the fire. It is the fire which, as it develops, causes an explosion and a general conflagration of the premises. Two French nationals who said they were in the bar at the time described seeing a waitress put a birthday candle on top of a champagne bottle. By morning, the scale of the disaster was clear. Around 40 people were killed. More than 115 were injured, most of them seriously. Many were young. Many were tourists from around the world. Swiss President Guy Parmelin called it one of the worst tragedies our country has experienced, announcing 5 days of national mourning as flags were lowered to half-mast. Emergency crews flooded the resort, 10 helicopters, 40 ambulances, but even that was not enough. Hospitals were overwhelmed. The nearest hospital, in Sion, was flooded with victims, taking in around 60 people in a matter of minutes. According to Dr. Robert Larabau, head of emergency care at Geneva University Hospital, the number of people suffering severe burns far exceeded Switzerland's national capacity. About 50 people were badly burned, more than all Swiss burn units combined could handle. 22 were sent to Lausanne, more than double the burn center's capacity. 16 were transferred to Zurich University Hospital. 8 were sent to Bern. 4 victims, aged between 15 and around 25, were taken to Geneva University Hospital. 2 were placed in intensive care and required urgent transfer for specialized treatment. Even as the fire raged, others injured by the explosion, suffering fractures and blunt trauma, made their own way to hospitals. Switzerland was forced to look beyond its borders. Officials in Bern coordinated with the European Union, urgently searching for available burn units abroad. Patients were prepared for transfer to hospitals in France, Germany, and Italy, some beginning Thursday, others Friday. As doctors fought to save lives, authorities faced another painful task: identifying the dead. Because Crans, Montana is an international destination, officials warned that victims were likely of many nationalities. France and Italy confirmed citizens among the injured and missing. Families waited, some with no news at all. What should have been a moment of joy became a night of mourning, not just for Crans, Montana, but for Switzerland and far beyond its borders. And as the new year dawned over the Alps, some victims were still fighting for their lives.
Did Constellation, I'm asking, did Constellation actually meet all the necessary fire safety standards and regulations?
And then where were the emergency exits located as well? Because we get the impression that people were trapped. They were truly trapped. So the big question is, were there simply no emergency exits available, or did the system just completely malfunction? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question. I'll answer it because it's a crucial part of the investigation. It's important to understand that this tragedy unfolded just a few hours ago. Many resources have been mobilized, and currently it's truly premature to answer your question.
Do you have the very first pieces of information from the investigation? Do we have any indication of where the fire could have possibly started? Was it perhaps from the very bottom of a room where people were dancing, or from the kitchen? Do we have any idea? Some media outlets have mentioned fireworks or pyrotechnic devices. Do we need all the very first elements?
I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm truly sorry that I can't give you any further information.
We already know that over there, it's a fire. I'm already thinking, at the time I'm speaking to you, about a piece of information that is crucial, and that's the information you need to retain for the moment. But unfortunately, I'm not able to give you any more details at the time I'm speaking to you.
It will take us some time, but what allows you to rule out a terrorist attack?
You mentioned it earlier today. What allows me to definitively rule out a terrorist attack is quite simply the fact that there was no explosion of, how should I phrase this? There's a specific technical term for it, and we've inquired about it. There was an explosion, yes, but it was a deflagration, a widespread, generalized conflagration.
There you have it, thank you. It's a widespread conflagration that is at the very foundation of ISA in...
I'm going to hand over the floor now, the sheer force of the explosion. If we were to approach it, he would have a much harder time than I would trying to answer that question.
The testimonies and initial investigations clearly indicate that it was indeed a blaze caused by
It is a fire that causes a generalized conflagration of the internal atmosphere within the establishment. So the deflagration is actually a consequence of the fire. It is not the deflagration of an explosive device that causes a fire. It is the fire that proceeds, and as it develops, causes a deflagration and a generalized conflagration.
So there was definitely an explosion, and we have witnesses who spoke of a very loud note, a very powerful blast.
Exactly, when a confined space or an atmosphere ignites, well, that causes a deflagration, and is a direct consequence of the fire, not the other way around.
Our colleagues in the media are reporting approximately 40 fatalities. You yourself have indicated several dozens. Could you please clarify whether this specific figure appears to be accurate at this current stage? And also, if you could offer a brief comment regarding the nationalities of the victims, we would be grateful.
Thank you, Madam. I have spoken about approximately 10 individuals who are presumed to be deceased.
Because of the need for caution due to the ongoing police and judicial intervention, we cannot be more precise at this time. You will understand my position, as it is essential to be accurate regarding the facts, and also today out of deep respect for the families involved. There are thus several people who have tragically passed away. The investigation is currently ongoing.
The forensic identification section, supported by various services, has been working to try and identify these individuals. And identifying these individuals also means informing their families. That will take some time. For now, it is premature to give you a more precise figure. Thank you for your understanding.
And the nationalities? Idea?
Thank you, I had forgotten about your second question. We have the good fortune to live in a magnificent canton during a time of celebration, and today we are experiencing the worst.
There's no need for me to explain at length that in a resort like Créon, which has the opportunity to welcome visitors from all around the globe, it is quite probable that several victims would be of different nationalities and be foreign nationals.
Regarding the witnesses who spoke about the explosions, have you been able to find anything at the scene that might give us an indication of what the actual source was for this particular explosion, perhaps some kind of technical residue or other forensic evidence or something similar?
Given that this is an investigative matter covered by the secrecy of the Public Prosecutor's Office, I yield the floor to the next.
Question. So, I am truly sorry to have to tell you this once more. We are really just at the very beginning of the investigation, and we must be aware of how much time all of this will take.
There are experts who will need to be deployed on site, and these specialists can only proceed once we have fully secured the location and successfully managed to gain entry into it in a completely safe manner. And all of these necessary steps will undoubtedly require a significant amount of time. At this particular stage, it is genuinely too premature to say.
Now, a few hours have passed since this tragedy. For the time being, apart from expressing my gratitude for your understanding, I am unfortunately unable to provide you with any additional information.
When one operates a public establishment, it is imperative to adhere to specific fire safety standards, especially considering the maximum number of people who might be present within the premises. Therefore, can we then imagine that during festive periods we were operating with an excessive number of individuals, far beyond what the fire safety regulations stipulate for the proper operation of this particular type of establishment?
So, I'm going to be completely transparent with you. I have absolutely nothing right now, just a few hours after this tragedy, that would allow me to suggest otherwise. I am frankly asking all of you, out of respect for the deceased, out of respect for their families, not to make any assumptions. These assumptions inflict significant harm upon families and are exceedingly difficult to cope with, quite simply because families are caught in this agonizing wait for answers.
And unfortunately, we are not in a position to provide any follow-up to these responses. So please have some respect for the families and do not make any assumptions.